with this week's Lucia Capital Group weekly video. I'm Rick Plum. Remember the days when one spouse would go to work and earn a living while the other spouse stayed at home, took care of the kids? That was a long time ago. And while some families still operate that way, it's not nearly as common anymore. Many, if not most, families are dual income. Now, having two or more paychecks is nice, but it can also bring greater financial stakes for some families, in particular for affluent households, which you would think would have the most income potential and the most opportunity to live off of just one paycheck if they had to. Wouldn't an affluent family be more financially secure than a household with just one income? Now, on the surface, that makes sense, but research from a couple of years ago came up with a different conclusion. From the 70s to the early 2000s, there was a dramatic increase in the total household income. Nevertheless, total discretionary income actually went down over that same time period. And not only that, but total fixed expenses went up. That's mainly due to the need to purchase a second car and also because of housing inflation as parents engaged in bidding wars to get their kids into the good school districts. These families were also losing an important potential safeguard, the ability for the non-working spouse to get a job during a financial shock. Now, what this leads to is the counterintuitive conclusion that a dual income household may actually be more financially at risk when facing a sudden loss of one spouse's income. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you're taking a huge risk by having dual income family, but it does suggest that if you have a household where both spouses or partners are working, you can potentially be more secure when you live off just one income instead of both. And how do you do that? By managing your spending as if you were living on a single earner's income, even if you could afford to spend a lot more. Of course, there's a lot to consider here. With just one income, you have to think about things like an emergency fund savings, disability insurance, making sure a non-working spouse can enter the workforce quickly if there's a need to, and what might happen if there's a divorce. But the reality is that simply assuming that a dual income earner situation is always financially better may not be correct. By delegating earning responsibility to one single individual and the savings responsibility to the other, you may experience higher lifetime earnings, thus potentially reducing the shock of one spouse losing their income. So yes, sometimes two incomes are not better than one.